Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Today we are presenting our paper today in the Conference of Communication Management and Humanitarian Aid. The topic of this paper is the measurement and disclosure, the value of intellectual capital in the financial statement and its impact on the user's decisions in Malaysian companies. The abstract of this study, it is summarizing all the paper. It is first we have writing about the purpose of the study. The Malaysian companies with high investment in intellectual capital facing a lot of issues of getting future financing when they fail to measure and disclose the intellectual capital value. Okay, and this will affect their future growth. For the companies, the traditional financial statement, which only shows a small part of the total assets of companies if they ignored intellectual capital related information. The methodology used for this paper, the study was taken 10 samples of finance companies, okay, and a sample of 10 financial statements of listed companies, okay, in stock exchange and Bursa, okay, because the intellectual capital needs the best standards of the company's strategic resources and the value of the company. The findings, these findings on the result was the study indicates a positive impact between the disclosure, the intellectual and the capital and user decisions in the companies, okay. The contribution of the study was to the literature on the intellectual capitals, which issues on firms, okay, and the literature also has essentially focused only on financial statement and also contributes to the future research will be undertaken voluntary disclosure of the intellectual capital, okay. The limitation is for the study was the study mainly focused on the intellectual effect of intellectual capital disclosure on Malaysian company, and also the period of the research was only 1 year. The, the keywords that was used on this study was therefore the intellectual capital, the disclosure of intellectual capital, and also the strategy of the intellectual, okay. And for literature review, the study resulted to indicate that the disclosure of the intellectual capital has satisfactorily negative important effects on the users of the financial information, and this can lead to the significant, okay. And also the study considered the useful for the Malaysian listed companies as the added costs of intellectual capital disclosure is justified by the positive effect on the market value, okay, for the companies that are disclosing this information. And also the study found that there is a significantly positive link between capital performance and will increase the market positive reacts to the information, and hence the value of the firms will increase. Okay, and also we have summarized more than 30 papers, and we have come up with this literature review. For conceptual framework, we have used variables to indicate, okay, the positive of intellectual capital on users decisions of Malaysian companies. And for independent variables, we have used the accounting measurement and accounting disclosure, whereas for mediating variable was for the value of intellectual capital, and the dependent variable, which is the user's decisions in Malaysian companies, okay. And we have the hypothesis, okay, between all the variables, and it has a positive significantly. And after that we have run at the data that we have, okay, and we have the analysis of correlation analysis results, and the result was all positive and below 0.01. Regression analysis also, and also the mediation analysis results as we have the mediator variable. And the table 1, it shows the correlation between the variable indicating that relationship are positive and significant. And also in table 2, it demonstrates that both accounting measurement and disclosure significantly influence on user decisions. And also the third indicates that the value of intellectual capital indicates the relationship between the independent variables and user decisions, reducing the direct effect but not eliminating it entirely. For conclusion, guys, for this paper is the analysis of significant finding regarding the relationship between the measurement and disclosure of intellectual capital and user decisions in Malaysian companies. Both accounting and measurement and disclosure have a direct and positive impact on the user decisions, highlighting the importance of these practices in influencing investors and stakeholder behaviors. Alright, moreover, the study suggests that the effectiveness of accounting practices in shaping user decisions is partly dependent on how well a company values and manages its intellectual capital. Recommendation based on the findings. Several recommendations are proposed for Malaysian companies and relevant stakeholders. Firstly, guys, companies should enhance their measurement, right, in investing in more accurate and comprehensive methods of evaluating intellectual capital. Okay. Secondly, the transparency on the disclosure of intellectual capital should be a priority. Okay. Furthermore, the company should focus on the management and enhancement of their intellectual capital, given its mediating role. This involves nurturing and developing intangible assets such as employee skills, innovation capabilities, and customer relationships, which ultimately contributes to a company market value and appeal to decision makers. Okay, and these are references, okay, for citations for this paper. Thank you very much for listening to this presentation. See you next.